All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode 25 of the Designated Players Podcast. We are going to make this quick because we got 40 minutes left in the episode or in the month. And we don't really have much time to waste. So we'll jump right into we'll tell you what we're doing. Real simple playoff predictions. Playoff bracket is set. It was set on decision day. If you saw our live stream, you're awesome. But it was set on decision day, and we've got the bracket predictions ready to go. I'm actually about to log in and make my bracket online. So that'll be fun. But we obviously are going to dive into Scarf of the Week first. Connor, what do you got?
Is the not to already go off topic, but is the bracket thing? I know they typically do that. I'm trying to find where it is though.
I just searched MLSsoccer.com and then it was like pick your bracket, and that's what I'm doing now. So, Connor, what do you got?
Well, there's only one scarf I can go with after quite possibly the goal of the season on decision day. You know, I'm bringing out the RSL scarf.
I respect the heck out of that one. I really do.
To knock out the LA Galaxy in the last minute, you know I'm going with the RSL scarf.
I think they did everybody a massive favor with that one. I've got Red Bull Christmas scarf because I was doing some Christmas shopping yesterday. I know I'm awful. It's not even Thanksgiving and I'm already looking at Christmas, but with the amount of time I'm spending in Kentucky for the Christmas season, the Christmas decorations are going up early this year. So I broke that one out. This will be on the tree. Probably by next time you see an episode, it'll be on the tree. I'll record it in front of the tree, so it'll be like double scarf of the week. All right, I'm getting off topic. I told you not to let me do that. Well, let's do the Western Conference first. We'll do the Western Conference play-in games first because we always do Eastern Conference first. You've got Portland, Minnesota at 4-5, Sporting KC versus Vancouver 3-6, Seattle RSL 2-7. Connor, what do you think about Portland versus Minnesota?
It is a matchup where I'm just off the top of my head, if you wanted me to have like an instant reaction, I kind of would lean towards Portland because I think that Portland has been very informed to end the season. Not to mention that Portland is usually a dangerous team when it comes to the playoffs. They're similar to a Seattle in my opinion. They just know how to get it done when it comes to the playoffs. So Portland is also coming off a very nice win on decision day, even though they didn't have anything to play for. They got the job done easily against Austin. And we saw Minnesota go through definitely a really tough battle of a game against LA Galaxy. Granted, I'm not a big fan of Galaxy at the end of the season. I think their form was kind of falling off. So I kind of feel like logic says to me to go with Portland here. But knowing how that works, that means probably Minnesota's going through.
Well, what I'm really glad is that we're not starting off the bracket with the same pick. I'm going with Minnesota here because I think the pure adrenaline of that game against LA is going to push them through and give them a little bit of a helping hand. Portland are either very good or they miss out in the first round. They don't like make it to the semis and lose. They either go all the way or they lose round one every year. So that being said, Minnesota in their last 6 have only lost once, where Portland, on the other hand, in their last 6 have lost 3, and they did lose 3 in a row. So Minnesota, the hotter hand, beating teams like Philly, SKC, lots of really good wins in there, while Portland beat RSL, San Jose, Austin. I think Minnesota's got the upper hand on teams that they've played, their form, which means they're losing 3-0. So Minnesota gets my pick. Moving on to Sporting KC versus Vancouver, it is ridiculously tough to vote against Brian White here. That being said, let's take a look at Vancouver here real quick. Vancouver, have not lost in their last 6. Actually, if I remember correctly, they haven't lost in their last 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, they have. Jesus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. In their last 22 games, 2 losses. One of them was to Portland, the other one to Seattle. Goodness me, how do you vote? How do you pick against that?
Huh.
And then you got Sporting KC, who have lost 4 of their last 6 to the Whitecaps. I'm about to get freaky here. I'm going Vancouver. I think Vancouver pulls this one out. They just Ryan Gauld, Brian White. That right there is the attack of dreams, right? Like what else? What else can you ask for? Your thoughts?
I think obviously, going into the playoffs, I was all on board Vancouver. I was I was conducting the Vancouver hype train while Adam was on the bench for the time being. The thing that worries me is something that I know you've mentioned before, and that's playoff Brian White. Because he was so good at the end of the regular season, and I really do think that he was a big reason as to why Vancouver has that crazy record to end the season. But seeing how he performed in that Seattle game has me a little bit concerned that maybe he is already starting to go into playoff Brian White form. And if that's the case, then the teams like SKC can then, I think, focus a bit more on Ryan Gauld and help to lock him up. In which case, now Vancouver's weapons are starting to go down, and it's a question of who's going to step up in that case. And at the same time, there's a lot of really good players on SKC. Daniel Shallowy's an MVP candidate this season. They have Johnny Russell, Alan Polito. So definitely a lot of talent on SKC. And while Vancouver has the hot hand going into the playoffs, I think SKC are just too good on paper for me to not pick them here.
That's your first mistake, is going off of the paper.
That's
paper
true. That's totally true. There is no paper when it comes to MLS.
The thing that sets me off about SKC, realistically, their goals come from 2 people. Johnny Russell, Daniel Shallowy, and then if Alan Polito starts, it comes from Alan Polito sometimes. You find a way to neutralize those 2, they've got nothing else going forward. So that's my.
That is true. I do think it is tougher, easier said than done to neutralize Shallowy. Although, like you said, SKC is coming into this game 3 straight losses against teams that, I mean, RSL and Minnesota are pretty strong, but lost to Austin too. Man, everything screams Vancouver, which is why I'm leaning towards SKC.
That's totally fair.
This is a tough one. Is there any reason why is Polito hurt? I don't even think I see him on the bench. If Polito's out, I think I'm going to go Vancouver.
October 8th, he underwent knee surgery.
Yeah, he's probably not playing then.
Set for 2021 return.
Oh, so he is potentially coming back.
Out between 3 and 5 weeks. A little bit of cleanup, not major surgery. Now here's the deal. Does he come back? He's not fit. He's not, he's not used to playing. Does he come back? And he's 30 years old. Does he come back the same guy?
That's true. Also, they probably wouldn't just throw him in starting. I would think they kind of ease him back in.
Yeah, bring him off the bench, right? So now you're looking for him to be an impact player. I'll go Vancouver here. I think Brian White.
I'm gonna go Vancouver too. I'll switch it.
Oh, you loser. I was hoping we only had one similar pick here. Now this Seattle pick is going to be Seattle versus RSL is going to be an interesting one. Where in the world is Raul Ruidiaz?
Yeah, that is literally my one question, and then that'll really help to just have a pick.
October 25th, Sounder at Heart, a Seattle podcast, said that Raul Ruidiaz, Nico Ladero, Jordan Morris nearing returns. Ladero may even travel for Tuesday's match against LAFC. Ruidiaz may not be able to travel. He's optimistic. It might be a little bit of a stretch for tomorrow, but Galaxy Vancouver, he's certainly motivated and happy to be back. Full involvement of Brad Smith, Jordan Morris, Nico Ladero, last of whom may even play against LAFC.
I guess you could ask the same question about him as you could with Pulido. He's, I think, 30 or close to it.
Yeah.
Coming back from injury. I feel like he's been in and out of injuries a lot in the second half of the season. It seems like from what I was reading, it seemed like he was ready to go against Vancouver, and then I don't think he played.
No. Actually, October 19th, they were expected to see him that week. But
maybe
let's see October 29th. Raul Ruidiaz has a chance to play Monday. Hasn't played. I've got nothing to say that he's definitely back. And they have been dreadful without him. They can't buy a goal. Christian Roldan is their third leading goal scorer behind Ruidiaz and Freddie Montero, who's a penalty kicking merchant. I'm picking Seattle, assuming everybody's coming back, but I would not be shocked to see RSL take this on like penalties or something. I want that noted.
I think it's also fair to say that JMO is starting to get decent minutes now. I think he played the whole second half of the last game, so
which is always good to see, right? Always good to see.
Yeah, so even if they are missing Ruidiaz, if they end up starting with Jordan Morris, I think that's a guy that can get the job done. And I don't think this RSL team is super strong. I kind of feel like you got to just look to neutralize Damir Krylak and Albert Rusnak. And if you could do that, it doesn't seem like there's much in the attack in the second half of the season. I know Rubio Rubin was pretty hot to start the season, but I didn't hear his name at the end.
Yeah, there's nothing about the RSL team that I watched on Sunday that makes me think, yeah, these guys are going for a run. That being said, they're going for a run now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Seattle as well. I think they're too good even without Ruidiaz to lose to RSL here, but I'll eat my words when that's totally wrong.
Yeah, the one after might be an interesting one. Over to the East, NYC take on Atlanta in the 4-5 match, Nashville, Orlando in the 3-6, and Philly versus RBNY in the 2-7. You go first here. NYC Atlanta. I'll let you go ahead and pick this one apart.
I think NYC at home is a completely different team than NYC away. I think NYC really has a good hold when they play at Yankee Stadium. I mean, that's not an easy place to play away at. And obviously NYC, having played there more than anybody else, has the best feel out of anybody in terms of how to play there. So I think Atlanta coming in as the away team that's already going to set them back. And I also think that there's still too many things that are new with this Atlanta team. I think there's still too many new players, new coaches. I don't think the chemistry is fully there yet. And I think that shows with how often they would blow leads late in the season. I think there's like almost like a factor of trust where that's missing, or a factor of leadership. I do think that again will set them back. So I'm leaning with NYC here. Granted, Atlanta typically have been, they usually put in good performances in the playoffs, but I think NYC at home will take it here.
NYC have won since 2016. Let's double check this one more time. Last year here. they have moved on in a single round. One round. It was a play-in round, and they moved on. Every other round, or every other year, they lost in the first round that they played in. They have 2 wins in the playoffs. They're now missing Keaton Parks, which we came across today. Yes, the baseball stadium is an advantage per se. However, there's something about the Atlanta team, if they play the proper players, right? If Yosef starts, Moreno starts, and Barco starts, that I think is going to absolutely rip apart that New York City back line, because they don't have Anton Tinnerholm anymore because he's hurt. Keaton Parks was the 3rd highest rated player. He's out. Cayens is still there. Thorarenson has been okay. James Sands is playing outside back, and then they're playing Tavon Gray, who's a mess. Maxime Chanot, who he's good, not phenomenal for me. Malte Odmanson. There's a lot telling me that Atlanta take this one. So I'm going to go ahead and pull Atlanta for this one.
Listen, I would love for that to happen.
No, I do. But like I said, it's the lots of missing players that I think you guys are going to be able to counter quickly and play into good spaces. And I think if Yosef, Moreno, Barco all start and play off of each other the way that we know that they can, they're going to have a nightmare of a back line, because they're going to have to play in that midfield spot. They're going to have to play Alfredo Morales, some combination of Alfredo Morales, Santi Rodriguez, Nicolas Acevedo, and that's really it. Or Gideon Zalon, but he got a red, so I don't think he's playing.
Yeah, probably not.
So he's out too. So you're looking at 2 center mids or Tony Rocha. Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling that this is going to be a very dominant game for the midfield of Atlanta. And it's just a matter of if they can keep Tati Castellanos under wraps. So I'm going to go Atlanta there. Nashville versus Orlando. This is a pretty easy one for me. Orlando. Nashville can't buy a win to save their life. What is it? 19 draws? Is that the number that we're looking at right now? If you can't buy a win in the playoffs, and you're gonna depend on holding leads or holding for draws to play in penalties. Granted, I think Joe Willis wins every penalty shootout he goes into, because the man's a freak of nature. But yeah, 18 draws this team had. Not for me. Orlando City, 1 loss in their last 5 games. Again, they're going to need to play the proper players, right? But you got Nani, DK, Pereira, Antonio Carlos and Janssen have been great. Gallese has been awesome. Junior Urso has been a stud. That finish from Jason Mendez on Sunday was complete filth. But you can't hold off Orlando. They'll always find a way. So I like Dean Smith's side. I think he's got a good group over there in Nashville, but I think they fall short against Orlando.
I'm going to take the opposite one again. So I'm going to go Nashville here. I think what you say is valid, that you obviously have to get wins when it comes to the playoffs, because if you just play for ties and go to penalty shootouts, at that point it's a lot more so random chance than it is just being the better team. However, looking at what Nashville was able to accomplish in the playoffs last year, I feel like they know how to turn it on when they need to. And I think they have potential MVP candidate on the team in Hani Mukhtar, who's just been unreal this season.
Yep.
I think they can definitely score goals. I mean, they put 6 past FCC. Granted, I know it's FCC, but not everybody was.
So did I. Like, that's not saying much.
But no, I don't know if anybody else has put 6 past FCC all season. Like, as much as FCC sucks.
That's because they chose not to.
That's what they did. So I think Nashville can definitely score goals with Leal, Mukhtar. I know they have CJ Spong. They have Yonder Cadiz, even though I think he's coming off the bench now. Orlando's definitely talented, and they have been playing a lot better lately. They have the number one MLS 22 under 22 player on their team. So that's
They traded
obviously
for
a big
Pepe?
plus for them. Nope, they have Daryl DK. I saw a stat thing today from Trent. I know I'm getting on a tangent, quick tangent. Transfer Market posted top young players outside of like the top 5 leagues, and DK and Pepe were on that. And I think it was like Pepe had like 31 or 32 games played and like 13 goals, but DK had 18 and 10 goals.
Penalty kick merchant.
Penalty kick merchant. That's what it is. He's got Nani on his team. He doesn't take pens.
One more side note. We were just talking about FCC. FCC lost 15 of their last 16 and 12 of their last 12.
Oh, they were so bad that year.
So
Unreal.
dreadful. Like it hurt. It hurt to watch them play. I still go Orlando here. I think they pull it out. I just don't, like I said, I watched Nashville literally outside of a Hani Mukhtar free kick. Nothing about Nashville was like, wow, this team is in third place and they're really good. They didn't concede very much, but we also missed a few really good chances. So,
true, but they also might have just they could have been not pushing too hard just to kind of not risk injuring themselves for the playoffs. I know they still had the second seed to play for, but at the end of the day, they were still getting a home game in the first round.
No, for sure.
But we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah. All right, we move into Philadelphia versus the New York Red Bulls. Connor, you want to take this one first?
This is such a tough one.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I think Red Bull, obviously, we talked about this on the live stream. They've been playing so well going into the playoffs. And Philly, I think Philly is a great regular season team. But when it comes to the playoffs, they just can't get it done. And I'm not sure why. I mean, they were Supporter Shield winners last year, and I think they went out first round, right, to New England. Or I don't remember. They might have had a bye. I don't remember how the structure worked last year, but
They had a bye, but they also lost the first round that they played in.
Yeah, so the first round that they played in, they lost to New England, who like scraped their way into the playoffs last year. And obviously, we look at New England this year; they're a very talented team, but there's a lot of good players on Philly, obviously mainly with their back line and Andre Blake. I worry about what they're going to do attacking wise. I think no Brendan Aronson this year. Obviously, they still have Kasper Shabilko, who's a very solid player. I want to say Red Bull here, but because Red Bull inevitably has to go far enough in the playoffs for them to choke and lose.
I love that logic. I love it.
So in that case, oh, man, especially since Philly just played with a man up for almost an entire game against NYC and got a draw. So I'm going to go with Red Bull here. I think Red Bull's going to carry that momentum into the playoffs.
I'm also taking Red Bull. Best defense in the league, bar, I believe it was New England and Nashville who posted better results there. I might be wrong. I'll double check while we're talking. Goals against. No, it was Nashville and it was us at 33. Was somebody in the Western Conference?
Seattle's got 33.
Seattle was also 33. I thought they said we were tied for second. Either way, we're tied for the best defense in the league. Philadelphia Union, again, in decent form, but I don't. So the big thing I looked at before making this decision is how many times has Ilsinho stepped on the field, and it's been 5 for a total of 79 minutes.
Nice.
So I don't think he's in the running to hurt us again.
Don't say that. You just jinxed it.
They've got a youngish team, right? You got Leon Flock, you got your subs off the bench are Quinn Sullivan, Jack McGlynn, all those players. Jacob Glesnes has been good in the back. Bedoya's 34 and can barely move. which means he's going to score a hat trick. Jack Elliott's been good. Kai Wagner, very good. Jamiro Montero. If Sean Davis can put him in his pocket, this game's over because Jamiro Montero feeds Kasper Shabilko. You shut down the feed, Shabilko doesn't score. I think Sean Davis has that in his locker. I think Drew Yearwood stepped up really, really well these last 2 months or so. We've got one of the best. We got tied for the best defense in the league, and we always find a way to nick a goal. So, and if we do go to penalties, my goalkeepers saved 3 penalties this season, even though 2 of them didn't count. So, do you remember that game?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going with. Red Bull. Well, because here's the other thing too, right? If you click on MLS Cup here, and there's like MLS Cup Final, what you really can do is cross out the LS Cup Final and just put in OON and then draw an arrow from Red Bull directly to that because Red Bull are going to the moon. So just direct arrow.
Tangent.
Tangent to the circle. Okay, Grace, relax. I know. Red Bull are going to the moon. We get it. You don't need to keep telling everybody.
All right, conference semis.
Conference semis for the West. Colorado taking on Minnesota for me, and then Vancouver, Seattle. And you have Colorado, Portland?
Yep.
And Vancouver, Seattle?
Yep.
Okay. So Colorado versus Portland for you. Who are you taking?
I already have this set in my head of how my conference finals matchup is. Like, I think it would be a lot of fun to see this as a conference finals matchup. So I'm going to take Portland here. I'm going to say they continue to ride.
And then you're going to put Seattle in. It's going to be, oh, here we go again. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Wow, you're so boring. That's the most boring pick I've ever heard.
Oh, but their game is going to be so good, though. Portland and Seattle will definitely have a good game. I think.
Quick pause.
What?
Quick pause. Timeout.
All right.
So can't believe you're going to be basic like that. So.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Well,
go ahead. Go on. Pick the exact opposite. I know you're going to.
I have to do some research onto this one. I'm still not sold on Colorado. I'm just not.
No, me neither. And
yeah,
I don't know why.
They beat the crap out of LAFC. Great. Jack Price
this year.
Like I said, they've got one player with 8 goals, one player with 7 goals, and that's Jordan Lewis, who decided just to pick up whenever Greggy Boy needed a call in. He was like, "Oh, I'm here, boss. Don't forget me." They went on one really good run where they 13 games unbeaten, most of them draws, to climb their way up the table. Lose to Seattle, beat Minnesota, lose to RSL, draw Seattle. Why do I feel like the Western Conference play the same 5 teams every week? Like it's the same 5 games all the time. Beat Portland, lost to New England, beat Houston, beat LAFC. Man, like I can't figure this team out. Like they don't have star players. They're Red Bull 2018. No star players, no massive budget. Just a good system. That being said, it would be very Minnesota of this podcast to write them off and not make the playoffs and then them go on a run to the Mls Cup Final. Wouldn't it?
Just for them to lose again.
Only game they've lost in their last 6 was to Vancouver. Beat Philly, beat SKC. Will have beaten Portland at that point. I can't put my money on Colorado. Like what is wrong with me? Like there's got to be something wrong, right?
Nothing wrong. I mean, there probably is, but we're not talking about that right now.
Who knew Lud, Reynoso, Fred Panye? Then you're looking at the one person I really wasn't impressed with when I watched that game on Sunday, Roman Metanier. Really bad. But anyways, their backline's solid. Jan Gregers hasn't played nearly at all. Or he's hurt.
Waffling.
I go
We need a
Minnesota.
pick.
Minnesota.
Okay. So we're both in agreement that Colorado loses first round.
I can't put money on Colorado. I just can't. Like they were non-existent until the last day of the season. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna top the West. Like, where you been all my life, bro? All right. Vancouver, Seattle. Love me some Brian White. This one's gonna be big on if they've got all their players back. I think Vancouver pulls this out if Seattle doesn't have Rui Diaz. But I'm assuming he's back by this point, so Seattle.
I was kind of thinking the same thing, although when I watched the game that they just played against each other, there was already no Rui Diaz, and you only got half a game of Jordan Morris. And I still feel like Seattle was slightly the better team in that game. So I think even if they don't have Rui Diaz, if they have a relatively healthy Jordan Morris, I think they can get it done. I think
Who scored in that game
who scored?
for Seattle? Freddie Montero on a penalty.
Yeah. Seattle are just too good in the playoffs to bet against them.
That's the other thing I'm thinking is Seattle in the playoffs are just like Red Bull at home.
They just know how to get it done. I mean, their players are experienced in the playoffs as well.
The other thing that might hurt them, their bench is like average age of 12. They've got nobody with experience off the bench except for Shane O'Neill. Shane O'Neill probably brings up like 14.
Let me counter your negative with a positive. They do not have Florian Youngworth on their team.
That's facts. That's straight facts.
All right, so I think we've got Minnesota and Seattle for you, and then we got Portland and Seattle for myself. So same route, just whoever we picked as the winner of Portland, Minnesota is the other conference final team for either of us.
Yep. Back over to the East, New England versus Atlanta.
Yeah, I have New England versus NYC.
Yeah, this isn't a conversation, is it?
No, I'm going New England here.
Now, wouldn't it be something if they blow out the Shield race and then drop in the first round?
When was that? I think 2017 Toronto was the last team to win the Shield and the Cup.
The last time to do a double, yep.
It's not common that the Shield team.
We're due for one, right? We're due for one.
Yeah, I almost feel like a fully healthy NYC has a shot at beating New England, but I'm not taking an injury-riddled NYC against them. New England, I think, is too good.
If I'm looking at Atlanta here, who are in good form, but lost 2-1. Lost 1-0. That was the only 2 times they played them, but lost both those games. Now, don't think Yosef featured in either of them. Double check. Yeah, no,
you don't have time to double check.
You led the line with
40
Cuba
minutes.
Torres. You led the line with Cuba Torres and had Alec Khan in goal. I still give it to a fully functioning New England team simply because Bruce Arena is a magician. And I don't think that they can beat him. Orlando Red Bull.
I've got Nashville Red Bull.
You've got Nashville Red Bull. You know how that ended last week.
Yes.
Red Bull should have won.
But they didn't.
Okay.
I'm picking Nashville in this one. I think that I just, for whatever reason, I just like Nashville in this playoffs right now. I think they got a good team on paper. I think they're relatively the same team that was in the playoffs last year. So I think the chemistry is there with the team. I feel like they've even improved because obviously Hani Mukhtar wasn't playing at the level he was last year. Or sorry, he's playing at a level above what he was playing last year. And I know that they just played and they had a draw, but I remember watching your reactions from that game. There was a lot of like Nashville attack towards the end of that game where Red Bull were kind
Right,
of
because
just
Red Bull
trying to
sat in
hang
because they
on.
knew they needed a point.
I don't necessarily think that that's going to be any different here. I think Nashville at home will take this one.
I think you're a hater.
Uh-huh.
I think Red Bull get the better of them. Well, actually, I got Red Bull Orlando, so it don't matter. So I've got Red Bull beating Orlando here. We beat them once in July. We beat them once in May. And then did we have them one more time? No, we didn't. Man, I'm riding high on this being the best defense in the league and us getting through on I can see the Orlando Red Bull game going like penalties or something and Red Bull making the So again, this is where I needed Red Bull to make the conference final so that we can bow out. So that's what I got. I got Red Bull to the conference final, riding that defensive streak, nicking some goal like from Christian Caceres 2 minutes in, and then parking the bus and getting ourselves a result. Because again, Red Bull to the moon, right? All right. Conference final. I've got Minnesota, Seattle. You've got Portland, Seattle. I'm going to go fully healthy Seattle. Because by this point, I mean, I don't know what date this is, but I think this is scheduled for some time in like super late November. If Ruidiaz isn't back, then they are hiding something massive. I'm going super late, super healthy Seattle.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. I like this Portland team, and I think they have the momentum. But what I don't like is their center back pairing. I don't think that they're necessarily bad, but I just don't know how well they would do in containing Ruidiaz. They played 2 games against each other relatively within the same period of time. I think they played each other. There were 2 games in between, then they played each other again. One of the games, Seattle put 6 past them, which is something. It's the exact reason why I'm worried that a fully healthy Seattle team just has a field day.
I hear you. I don't disagree with you there. Who is their starting center back pair?
I think it's
Mabiala and Zuparic.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. So I think I'm on board with you there. As much as I don't want to see Seattle in a final again.
Again, Brian Schmetzer.
They're just so good. They're so good.
They've figured out how to win MLS, like beat MLS, like the video.
I know. It's ridiculous.
All right. Eastern Conference, Red Bull versus New England or Nashville versus New England.
I'll start this one off.
Yeah, because I got some things to say.
This is a really tough game as well. I think obviously New England have been so dominant this season. I just feel like when it comes to MLS playoffs, just the whole script gets flipped. Like I just think whatever you did in the regular season doesn't mean anything. And it's almost just like up to chance because you could just have a stalemate of a game and then someone accidentally like falls down and smacks their face into the ball and it rolls in the goal and that's it. You move on to the playoffs. I think obviously I think both teams are very good. in this case, I'm going to go Nashville here just because they were the better defensive team this season.
You're out of your mind.
I don't think, I know we are, like you said, I think we are due for a team to win Shield and Cup in the same season. I just don't think it's this one. I'm probably putting too much faith in Nashville, but
I think you
I like
absolutely are.
I
And
like the
listen,
team. They're
you
good.
are looking at the last person who would not want to see Alex Mouille lift an MLS Cup. You're like
Dax.
that. Yes, Dax deserved an MLS Cup with Red Bull, but Alex Mouille with an MLS Cup in his hand is an image I'm framing. Like I will literally, if he wins MLS Cup, I'm printing out the picture of him going like this, and I'm framing it, and then I'm sending it to Adam to say, "Told you so." Red Bull versus New England. You have no idea how bad I want to say Red Bull here.
I'm sure you do.
Red Bull played New England 3-2, 3-2, 3-1. So, I mean, they picked apart our defense early on in the season before we got it figured out, but we have it figured out now. Now, let me just pick these games out. So, 3-2, 3-2, and then the most recent meeting was 3-1. And that was, or no, sorry, the first meeting we had was 3-1, and we had a red card that game. So they scored 2 of their goals when we were man down because Andres Reyes is a walking red card. Then we went 3-2 on June 24th, in which we went down 3-0 to start the game and fought our way back to 3-2. That wasn't a good game. We hadn't figured out our back line yet. Reyes and Niels hadn't really gotten on the same page. John Tolkien was still playing when Gutman wasn't in. It was a whole big mess. And Jason Pendant started. Mess. 3-2, July 31st. Losing the game in the 91st minute. We went up 1-0 in the 8th. Then went up 2-1 in the 63rd. Brandon By scored in the 84th. And in the 91st, we lost to an Adam Buxa goal. Red Bull know how to play this team and play them tough. But here's what I'm going to say. Red Bull are going to play them tough. They're going to play them right. And we're going to lose in penalties. And it's going to be something stupid where like we save the winning one and the referee calls it back for being like that far off the line and they score and then we hit the post. It's going to be something dumb, but New England go to the finals.
That's so Metro.
Right? We're due for one. We're due for one.
I hope that happens because, and I hope we're live streaming that game because I want to see your reaction.
If we live stream a game where Red Bull lose because of something like that, I might leave early. Like I don't know if I could actually do that. Now you're making me sick. MLS Cup Final. I got New England, Seattle. Who do you got?
Nashville, Seattle.
Okay. What do you got?
Man, every fiber of my being wants to pick Nashville just so we have something different. But my brain says Seattle. This team is just so good, especially if they're healthy. And it's a lot of ifs with them because.
Hey, we don't have time for you to sneeze. Let's go.
Because they have been so like up and down with injuries this season, but a fully healthy Seattle team on paper is just I don't think anybody beats them. One quick question: what happened to João Paulo? Is he hurt?
No, he's our best player.
He didn't even play the last game.
Or maybe rating wise, he's our best player.
He wasn't in the team at all.
Is he another one?
I'll look it up.
I mean, he's played 31 games. It might have just been resting him. Bruce Arena versus Brian Schmetzer might be the coaching matchup of the MLS Cup Final that we've been waiting for the last 15 years. That might be the single greatest coaching game we'll ever see. Bruce Arena doesn't lose. I got New England Revolution winning the double because Bruce Arena is an absolute G and can take a midfield of Matt Polster, Tommy McNamara, and Tralveston and turn it into a supporter shield winning side. Literally, Tommy McNamara has 31 appearances this year. It is criminal that man has a supporter shield right now.
How many times does he come out as sub though?
10. I think he's got 21 starts.
He's got 21 starts.
Yeah, hold on. But anyways, there is the decider for goals.
Yes.
Tommy McNamara, 21 starts, 11 subs. Unbelievable. In your Eastern Conference Finals, New England versus Nashville, how many goals do you think will be scored?
Not many. I'm going to say 3.
I'm going Red Bull versus New England. I've got 4. It's going to be 2-2 all the way through to
Penalties.
penalties. Yep. In the West, you've got Portland, Seattle. I've got Minnesota, Seattle. How many goals?
I'm going to say 5.
I also have 5. I think it's going to be 3-2 or 4-1 or something massive like that. In MLS Cup Final, Nashville versus Seattle, how many goals you got? Or what do you have the final score be?
I'm going to say 1-0 Seattle and 2-0 Seattle. But I'll say 1-0 Seattle.
I got 3-1 New England. I think it's close. They score one like 57, 58 minutes. Seattle start to push and they hit on the counter.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle got wiped out in the last MLS Cup final. They looked terrible. So very likely could happen again.
So that's it then. That is our prediction. If you want to put money on things, you know who's to follow. That'd be me, for those of you who are a little bit confused. But thank you for listening. We hope this makes some sort of sense. I think we kept it under 40 minutes, which is good. Next week, we'll be doing Who Stays, Who Goes. And the week after that, we'll be doing reactions to our predictions. And then I think there's one other one that we were talking about too was, what was the other one?
I don't know. Big MLS quiz.
When USMNT January camp rolls around, we'll have January wish list. And then, of course, the big MLS quiz of 2021. So with that being said, you got anything else?
Sir.
Nope. All right. Good episode. This is going to be week 4 in a row. We are rolling. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you for the next live stream, soon.
Probably.
We'll
talk about it.
We'll talk about it. When is?
We'll plan it after we finish this episode. I'm pretty sure we've already been over 40 minutes.
USA Mexico, Friday, November 12th, 9 p.m. We will see you then. Peace.